Thank you. Okay, we'll call this Committee of the Whole meeting of April 23rd to order. I would like to acknowledge that we're holding this meeting on the unceded lands of the Mi'kmaq. We have a record of attendance. Can I have, thank you for Councillor Dares, moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. I'm just going to give Councillor Cleveland a second to warm up. Okay. Declarations of conflict. Anyone want to up front? And if not, you can do that at the time of the agenda item. And approval of agenda. Any additions, deletions? I have one addition, which is, I'm just going to call it committees and agendas for 11A. That's just to get some more information for different committees. Okay, any discussion on this one? Okay, approval, thank you. Councillor Lesser, Deputy. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Thank you. So today, on this beautiful day of 2 degrees where the mayor has her sandals on, you know, or if once I wear them once, that's it. It's game over until next November. We have the Yarmouth Garden Party. Yarmouth Garden Club joining us. Well, I like to have parties too. The Yarmouth Garden Club joining us, and they're going to come up and share. Is that you? Yep. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having us on your agenda. And thank you to my fellow members behind me. I wasn't expecting quite a large moral support, and I'm kind of feeling almost more nervous now with them all behind me. But anyway, away we'll go. So my name is Peggy Green, and I live here in town, 20 Cottage Lane, and I'm a member of the Yarmouth Garden Club. And I want to first acknowledge that I'm a relatively newbie at being a member of the Garden Club, because there are some who have been a member of the Garden Club for like generations. That being said, I have been asked to do a presentation, and it is prefaced with a request at the end, needless to say. And I guess I first want to acknowledge all the work that the town does to support the beautification of our public spaces, and particularly our Parks Department and Todd and his team, because they are fantastic. We work with them, we have a really great relationship with them, and we would be lost without them, but we're happy to support them as well. Before I get into exactly why I'm here, I thought it would be helpful to give you a little bit of a background of the Yarmouth Garden Club. And so I went on a little bit of a mission, and I spent a couple of hours over at the archives. And our Yarmouth Garden Club, the first acknowledgement that I can find of the first meeting of the Yarmouth North Garden Club was October of 1953. Now, long before that, Yarmouth was well known for its historical houses and properties. And I've been at a home living show where Dave Solos, who happens to have walked in, did an amazing presentation on the houses and particularly the gardens of Yarmouth. So Yarmouth has a long, long history of amazing gardens and properties. What I also found when I was doing my search is that on October of 1994, the Yarmouth Garden Club was approached by the then Yarmouth Development Corporation to engage in assisting the town in beautifying downtown Main Street with a focus on Alma Square, which is now Jim McLeod Square, and the Brown Street parking lot. And thus began our commitment to the Brown Street parking lot. So it goes back quite a ways. And so with that in mind, and it is part of our mission as well for the club, we'd like to enhance our presence and profile in the town with the history that we've got, and in particular, our focus on our present work on Brown Street. And what we would like to do, what our big plan is actually a phased project. Phase 1 would be erecting a interpretive information panel, which would be similar to those that are around town now in Frost Park, down on Water Street, and throughout both the town as well as outside. And that interpretive panel would have some background around the history of gardens in Yarmouth, around the garden club itself, information with regards to some of the mission of the garden club, and also a look to the future. And then tying in with that, our connection to that particular location and the history of that location. So looking at it from both a historical as well as a knowledge perspective. Some of the opportunities that go along with that, because we building into phase 2, is we would use technology of today and build in the use of a QR code, so that recognizing only a certain amount of material should go on a panel itself, it would link people to get much more information about the garden club, about what's happening in our community and surrounding areas around the growing of our community. So the panel, ideally where we would like it to go, would be on the corner of Main and Brown Street. And I think you all saw my letter of request to even come to be on the agenda. So probably the biggest sticking point, which we'll come back to, I'm sure, is that right at the moment, the town has a lovely sign on that corner. And it is lovely, and it's well kept. But it's the perfect place to have an interpretive panel. So our first request would be for you to kindly consider, is there somewhere else that sign could go? The other reason around the sign is because it feeds into phase 2 of our project. And phase 2 of our project would be to have a mural on the north side of 280 Main Street, which is the New Century Restaurant, we all know it as. And that building is owned by Byron Boudreau. And we've been in close contact with Byron. We have learned that Byron is extremely appreciative of the Yarmouth Garden Club and all the work that it's done in that neighborhood. And he would be thrilled to allow us to put a mural on his building. We've talked about opportunities, we've talked about how we might do it, and we're looking at potentially doing a panel versus painting on the building itself. That way the investment of the art, should anything happen to the building or should the building get sold, that investment wouldn't be lost, and we would find another location potentially for the mural. We've had some discussions around looking at what might be able to be on that mural, and again, we would keep it with the theme of the Yarmouth Garden Club. We'd be looking at things, again, like some of the gardens that have been in the town to date. We would be looking at local flowers and plants, endangered species, pollinators, and the evolution of gardens through the history of Yarmouth. That's a whole lot, but those would be some of the seed ideas that we would give to some muralists to come up with potential ideas for the mural. The challenge is if we do a mural on that wall, the sight line driving south on Main Street, the sign that's presently there is right in the sight lines of that wall. So the mural would be completely interrupted. So that's the second reason for the request to move the sign. So we're really excited. Obviously for phase 2, we would partner with the town's Facade Society and the mural program. With phase 1, I'd respectfully request if there's any guidance around linking with the Heritage Committee or with any other aspects of the town that might be helpful in giving us some guidance, although we have met with people who have been very involved in all of the interpretive panels to date. So our whole idea is to be consistent with what we already have in town and build on that. And yeah, so moving forward, the consideration, as I say, would be particularly around the sign that's presently there. We are obviously committed to work with the town departments, which we have done all along anyway. And like I say, watch and see how it all can grow over the next few years. I welcome any suggestions from you and any questions.
Thank you for that. Okay, questions? So we don't make decisions at a committee meeting, but we'll bring it up again. I do know that we've used that sign before, but the person that put stuff on it is pretty amenable to saying, that's okay.
Okay.
So that'll be part of the discussion, that, you know, we understand it, so it would be okay to move it if that's the way we decide to go. The other piece is around your panel. That would, I was going to say it would look lovely with a little thing around it, but we're not going to do that because that'll block off. There's your historian sitting in the second
yeah.
row. Right? I think any questions we have, we go to him.
Yeah, and so we've done enough of our background work. We know that Joe Benjavini has done the metal work for the town previously. We've been in touch with Joe. We've gotten some quotes from him. There's another alternative that we could use as well. The same thing with the graphic design and the writing on it and all of that. We're aware of who the different people who have been involved, and our hope is to do everything local as well.
Awesome.
Do it within the town.
Any question? Go ahead there, Deputy.
Not a question, but just a big thank you. Many of you volunteer a lot of hours to make our town look beautiful year after year, and we're very thankful for the work that you do. And I'm sure as we move forward and discuss your request, we'll keep that in mind. So thank you for that very much.
Wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We look
And thanks
forward to
everyone.
hearing from you.
Yes, good stuff. And thanks everyone for coming out. Her cheering club.
My cheering club.
Okay, so staff reports, CAO, what's that? Oh, yeah. We need to go in camera for a couple minutes, if that's all right. So motion to go in camera. Thank you. Seconded. Thank you. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. We'll just sneak into this room. Okay, we're back at it. Okay, so staff reports, CAO report. Any questions for the CAO? And did you want to do the strat plan update?
I do. I left my paper in the other room.
No problem.
Okay, Your Worship, all of the operational strategy boxes have been updated recently by staff, and that is for your information. On the corporate priorities at the top, there are a couple that are completed. We have received the Yarmouth Area Industrial Commission response as relates to funding strategy around the wharves, and we have also completed the watershed source water protection plan that's submitted for provincial approval. So those two are complete. The Mariners on Main sale is underway in terms of process. The Sweeney collection, there is formal discussion ongoing with a local partner that we're hoping will bring about a successful conclusion and preserving that collection as a whole within the community. The municipal planning strategy is well underway, as you're aware, and there's a recent draft been circulated for comment. I would suggest to you there are a couple in the next box that could be moved up, and you know, this is obviously your choice. I would suggest that one that might be important to move up would be the International Ferry Sustainability Request. There's been information recently about the ferry and its economic benefit, and although there is not a clear plan or a clear contract in place for the future, I think it's not too early to begin to have discussions provincially around the ferry sustainability request and associate with that the ferry terminal future. Secondly, I'd suggest the asset management funding strategy, that formalizing some policy work around that would also be important. But again, Your Worship, these are your choices. If there's something,
Which one did you just say? The
the
asset
asset management funding strategy,
Okay,
and I guess I'll just leave it there for direction from council.
okay, so I started backwards. So we're removing 1, we're removing
3.
3 and 4 and 5.
No, 4 and 5 are still underway. They'll move,
They only move when it's done?
they move when it's done.
Okay. All right. Okay, so we've got, in the next one, to move up, the CAO is suggesting the ferry and asset management. Anybody want to take a look and see what else? Is there something else there that anyone feels is stronger? Go ahead.
Thank you. Can you just review for me what is involved with the asset management and funding strategy? I'm just give me a walkthrough of what.
In simple terms, we have had a practice here for almost 20 years now of setting aside a certain amount of money, and it's almost randomly selected. It kind of equates to or comes close to our depreciation, but it is not tied to asset management in a formal way, and it's not documented in policy. And so it would be kind of formalizing some parameters around that. So frankly, some of my thoughts around that are, beyond this council. You're going to face a fair amount of change in your senior management team, and if we put some things in policy, at least that creates a corporate memory of what we were up to, and changes to it going forward are not difficult to make, but it does have to be then intentional, right? So that's the thought around that.
Well,
So what I'm thinking about is the memorialization of the intention. So I support moving that up.
okay. Thank you. Anyone else? Go ahead, Counselor.
Simply that when it comes to the ferry, that's probably one of the most important of those strategies, especially on the next group. So I think that's a really important piece that needs to be settled. And so I would definitely support bringing that up into that main group.
Okay. Anyone else? So, I mean, I support them both as well. The question around the ferry one, sustainability request, like what's the deal with this? What exactly is this on the list? Because I would have that over in advocacy.
Yeah, so part of it is advocacy, but I think there is a piece around our own part in that, which is the ferry terminal.
Yeah.
That would be certainly a direct negotiation if we were able to get a door open and get somebody's ear.
Okay.
But certainly there is an advocacy part to it in terms of getting a formal long-term contract in place with an operator.
Okay. All right. So it's funny because I just put, that was my list of the big stuff. The ferry terminal is definitely the wharves, so we're good there. Wastewater treatment is down under you for operational strategies because that's nothing we can do there. I'm good. All right. So then we'd look for a motion to remove number 1 and number 3 and move up the ferry and asset management. Councillor Bell?
I would make that a motion, Your Worship.
Okay, seconded by Councillor Lesser. Any further discussion, questions, anything? Okay, All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Thank you.
Your worship, if I may, I'll point out that you mentioned wastewater treatment plant funding, and that is also under your advocacy partnership.
Yes.
So we are working, it is in my box under the operational strategies, working, engaged right now with our neighbors and co-users of the wastewater treatment plant to arrive at an agreement on future funding of that capital, what kind of cost-sharing arrangement we can make. And there will be a part of that will be, say, advocacy, maybe lobbying of the federal and provincial government for funding for that as well, when we have an application submitted.
Awesome. Good. All right, everybody okay? All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Thank you, CAO. All right, so nothing else for the CAO? We're good? All right, Fire Department, did you have any updates?
I do have an update. We do have an acting chief. Platoon Chief Peter Winship has agreed to take on the acting chief role. Mr. Winship has been with us for over 20 years as a career firefighter and a platoon chief, and in that time he's taken on leadership roles, most recently within the union. He's taken some leadership training within the fire service, and I think we're very fortunate to have somebody with his capabilities and his professionalism and character to be able to step up into that acting role. And so I'm meeting with Peter tomorrow, and we're going to get to work. So that's good news for the town, good news for the fire service.
Excellent. Good job on getting that done. Any questions around that one? Okay, operational services, and Chad's not here, but if there's any questions, you can get a hold of him, or we can pass it on. Good? You good? Okay, you look like you were going to say something. All right, isn't that nice? Planning and economic development, and Natalie's here. Natalie's last committee of the whole meeting. It's her last meeting.
That's why she's smiling so broadly.
Any questions there? We'll say, I mean, we'll see you, and we'll see you again, but thank you. They're just two words, but thank you. You've done a lot of great work over the years, and can't believe you're going. Go ahead, Deputy.
Just like to echo what the mayor just said. You've been a pleasure to work with from day one. I enjoy your reports. I enjoy our talks. I enjoy your passion for the work that you do. It's very obvious to anyone who's been around you. You care about what you do, and you've made our town a better place. So thank you so much, Natalie.
Yeah, it's exactly the same thing. Since I came here, I have a huge interest in planning and economic development, and you have been amazing in helping someone who doesn't know what they're doing, guiding them through and educating them, but also as a springboard of ideas and sources and the work that you've done. It's been a heck of a career here, and just, it's been an honor to work with you.
I guess I can say ditto. Yeah, you've been amazing. I've passed your and Martin's name on to everybody I could think of when things open up. And recently I had a conversation with somebody that said, is the town open for business now? Meaning, years ago the rumors were, we're not open to, which I don't think was the case, but we weren't open to revitalization and economic development. But I think every single person that has reached out has said how impressed they are with both of you and your team, so thank you.
That was on my first campaign. I had no idea what to do, but written across the top was open for business. And I remember one day sitting in Jeff's office, and he said, we needed a position, and he said, guess what I found? And the rest, as they say, is history. So that's good. do you need to tell us anything before you leave, or you good? I mean, there's your. Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. All I keep saying is that I've had the pleasure to work with great councils the last two councils. And so my job was only successful because of the great council, great CAO, and great deputy finance director, and as well as the team. So it takes, as Jeff says, it takes everybody. And some of us might get the limelight, and others are working hard behind the scenes, but all of us together makes us achieve what we achieve, including this beautiful work.
Exactly. You good?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, of course, obviously, Natalie, I can't thank you enough for what you've done for the town. It's been a pleasure, and we'll talk more, of course, but I just wanted to, as you as council members have been reflecting on your experience with Natalie and how much you appreciate what she does, it makes me appreciate even more this forum, this committee of the whole forum where our directors are present, and you meet them and they make their reports and you can ask questions. And I reflect on how much that has changed the relationship between council and staff and senior staff over the years. It's night and day, and so I'm pleased for all of us that you get to appreciate the people that I get to work with every day.
Awesome. Good. Thank you. Now, the only thing we need to be retrained, instead of saying, as Derek said, because my go-to is the same thing, call Natalie, right? Call Martin. All together now. Go ahead, Jeff.
Yep, so just along those lines, we are posting a position, a community development officer that will work in the planning and development office. Natalie was first brought on as an economic development officer, but I think if you look at her portfolio of work over the years, a lot of it was not just economic, but it was community development. And so that's the title that we've chosen for the new position that's posted, the replacement position, and that will work under Marty and his department going forward. So a lot of those great projects that have been initiated and continue, and more will be handled by someone. It's just, we are fortunate as a town to have the capacity to have someone in that role, because there's so much that gets supported in the community through that one position. So look forward to that.
Eat your Wheaties, Marty. Be ready. I'm sure he is. Okay. Engineering. DeMario's here. Any questions? We're busy, I know. Is there anything you needed to share or wanted to share that's, you good? Okay. Anytime any of you need to come up and just say, this is on my plate or whatever, don't be shy to do that. Finance, yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm good.
You okay? Okay. Okay. Finance right now is okay and laughing a little bit, which is good news. We'll leave it at that. And appreciated, very appreciated. Okay, Yarmouth Recreation, and Frank is here. Any questions for Frank? Councillor Lesser?
Not a question for Frank, but just the first report, I think it's just a mistake, but the first report is blank. I don't know if that's for Lindsay, but the second one is filled out. I think that's happened before with recreation somehow, that when you click the first one, it says report April 2026, mine's coming up blank, but the second one comes up, I don't know if that's...
It has been there twice.
I'm just thinking if anybody wants to look at the minutes and they click the first one, they might think nothing happened, I guess.
Yeah, that happens from time to time. I don't, it has something to do with the template report, but I'm not sure what happened there.
What's the nomination deadline for our volunteers?
So this week, but we do have some time. So if some trickle in middle of next week, that'll be fine. But we've had a number of nominations coming in for volunteer awards, And once those come in, then we'll get our Recreation Committee members to do some voting and pick our representatives for the town.
Perfect. Go ahead, Deputy.
I wasn't at our last rec meeting, but I'm just wondering if you could let the community know where we are on the public community uses of gyms when it comes to working with TCRCE, if we've met with Mr. Purdy yet, or kind of where we are and what we foresee where we're going.
Yeah, so we've had a number of meetings. Things are moving forward. Ryan McDonald has been the key person within TCRCE that I've been working with. We've had some back and forth with some draft agreements. Had a little bit of a pause on some legal liability issues, but things are moving very well, very positive. The other thing I want to mention as well is regionally, this isn't just a Yarmouth issue. This is a regional issue with other areas accessing schools, and really a provincial issue. So there's a regional team that's had a number of meetings as well, with some really good information sharing, and we're trucking along. We, at our rec advisory, we did try to put a deadline in place that we want to have all this stuff taken care of by the end of June, to make sure that things are in place for when we start up in the fall. So I'm very happy. I guess our leadership with the town and municipality had that great meeting with Jared Purdy, and I'm looking at nothing but positives.
Good, thank you. The other thing is we know Mariners on Main will be closed down in the fall, and there was some parents who had reached out, and I believe I sent an email about maybe a possible community meeting or a public meeting where I guess they could voice their concerns. I can honestly say I haven't been at a grocery store probably in the last 3 months where I haven't been approached where someone would like to speak about that. And just having reviewed our recent plan that we have for parks and recreation and culture, the number one thing that pops up there, actually, our first action plan, is to increase access to facilities, programs, and spontaneous recreational activities for people of all abilities, income levels, allocating prime time, and access basically to these things. So basically, a lot of times we have these plans, they sit on shelves, they collect dust, we pay a lot of money and nothing gets done. Not that this is the case here, but given that we have a fresh plan, that this is the first kind of thing. To me, working at the high school and knowing these kids, my fear is if we know we can't keep the Y open, but we also have many gyms that I know you're working on having access to. But to be able to talk to the community, to be able to know that those parents can voice their concerns, my fear is for those kids that go there is if we don't give them something good to do, what will they do? And you know what I mean? That rolls on to policing and other things for us. And I really would like to see a meeting if we could, and if it's not called through rec, maybe some of us could do it as citizens, but where people can really just say, you know, this is what I'd like. You know, we hear from the public, we put that into our planning, we keep that in mind, and then we come up with something that works for everybody. My fear is who will be left behind. There'll be a lot of kids who can afford a membership where we're going. We have things in place that make sure those who want to be there can. There's some kids that just want to go to a gym and shoot around for a little bit and stay out of trouble. And I think the more that we can work to make that happen, the better. So I guess our real question is, do you foresee a public meeting being something that you would want to do or that we should do? Or is there some way that we can make sure that we engage those parents right now who are very concerned, who are involved in running basketball and doing other things for us, and how do we make sure that their voices are heard and hopefully some of what they say gets put into how we move forward?
Anything is possible. At our last rec advisory, we did kind of brainstorm a little bit some ideas, because I think the discussion was around some of the Facebook posts with the basketball players, the drop-in type of attractiveness of Mariners on Main is that kids get off school and they can just go drop in for an hour and a half or 2 hours. And I guess we kind of brainstormed a little bit some possibilities. You know, a lot of the gyms that we have are in schools. So that's why we're trying to improve our community use of schools. In a lot of those gyms, we have after-school programs, which doesn't allow the community in until a certain time in the evening because little ones are in the gym up until 5:30 or 5:45. So that drop-in type of after-school opportunity may not be available at all schools. But we were just trying to brainstorm some of the other possibilities. I think NSCC was one of the ones that was mentioned. We have a number of activities at NSCC that we are a customer to them. We're renting facilities for pickleball or for seniors activities. And in my travels to that school, a lot of times in that after-school time, there's nothing going on.
Yeah.
So maybe that could be an approach, is that the rec department gets involved and we have some times there around that 3:30 time where it can be a drop-in type of activity for youth. But as far as the meeting, I'm open to any suggestions. I'm not sure of all the particulars around, you know, what would be covered, but I'm open to help in any way that I can.
Perfect. And having said that, I feel exactly the same. So offering that back to you as a counselor, and I'm sure many people, as I look around the table, there's a provincial basketball coach, there's a volleyball coach, there's those of us who've soccer, there's, you know, we're willing to help too. So this isn't a, here, Frank, take care of it. This is a, let's work together. Because for me, at the end of the day, this is about the people, like, this recreation department is funded by our taxpayers, and let's do as much as we can for those people who need that space to make sure that, you know, we get that done. So I'd love to work on that and hopefully have something out in the next little bit. And I even find sometimes just giving people a voice calms the storm. They feel a lot of times that they're not being heard, and then it just adds and adds and adds. And at the end of the day, I think if we could just get the voices out, get the requests in, see where we're at, they hear kind of what you're already doing. And at the end of the day, we have something that are those kids and those vulnerable people who really deserve it, you know. So moving forward, I hope we can meet and chat about that and see where it goes from there. The other piece is I noticed it was National Volunteer Week, and I know sometimes the way we do things, and I'm not a conformist, I guess. I've always been one to, if something doesn't work, and I'm not really down with, I guess, the way we do things. You know, we submit names in April, and we don't kind of celebrate them until the fall. And I know that runs in correspondence with kind of provincially and how they do it, but I'm wondering sometime too if maybe we could sit down and talk about a better way to maybe quarterly or something, just a little certificate for those people who I think get missed in that mix sometime. You know, who really, I think of the Garden Club and the other people that sometime might fall under the provincial mandate. I'm not really down with doing what the province worries about. I'm worried about we're here, and we should be worried about our community and making sure that we get a good process to make sure we're not missing anybody to thank them. But that's something else we can work on. But thank you, Frank.
Go ahead, Councillor Lesser.
My thoughts on Open Gym, because it seemed like, I mean, I know the Facebook group was, or the momentum there seemed like it was, I mean, it seemed to live in Facebook, but it was obviously not just living in Facebook. People were talking about it, and there were a couple of key players there. And I think what they're looking for is, I don't know who I'm really talking to, but I think they're looking for Open Gym versus, like, basketball teams can get gyms, well, as much as they can, get gyms to practice and that kind of thing. But I think it's the Open Gym that the Mariners on Main has, and it's only half a gym. So I was thinking, is it possible in this plan to maybe say, and I don't know how much available it is, but Yarmouth Elementary School being a central school, which would give, it's right in the middle of town. If there was a way to have, like, 5 to 7 every day as just Open Gym, and have the ability to go in and, they could organize a game of basketball, 3-on-3, or they could organize volleyball or whatever, but it would actually give double the amount of space as what we currently have at Mariners on Main. So I don't know if that's a thought at all, of just having kind of an Open Gym concept, because I think that would, I don't know if the deputy would agree, but I think that would satisfy what some of those parents are looking for, is the drop-in aspect. So just a thought.
I think that one was discussed because it was the after-school program there, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead and I'll put you, we'll finish this. Is that okay, Wade?
No, go ahead.
Al.
Yep,
Yep,
absolutely.
go ahead.
Yeah, all those points we have been discussing at the rec committee. He's on that, yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, I wanted to focus a little high, Frank. Volunteer Summit. I'm in the midst of kind of catching up here. And we mentioned volunteers, and that is something I think is hugely important. And as Volunteer Week kind of came and to a degree went in terms of the communication within social media, and you see a lot about Volunteer Week from other areas. And I know we have, as the Deputy Mayor said, we have kind of a different setup because we align ourselves with the province and do the big ceremony. But I was curious, first off, as to what's planned for the Volunteer Summit. I know that you've got, according to your report, about 35 people registered for it. What's going to happen?
It's information exchange. We just want to hear from volunteer groups and see what groups are doing as far as recruitment, retention. It's basically information sharing. It's from 9 till 3, and we're just trying to get some good discussions so that groups can, hear from others to improve their own activities.
Yeah. For us, in rural Nova Scotia generally, but here in the town and through the municipality as well, there's so many things that would not exist if it weren't for the volunteers. And it's pretty, it's almost humbling, the amount that's there. But a lot of those organizations I'm starting to see, they're starting to age out, and the next generation really isn't stepping up the way that the earlier generation did. And I have something I'd like to mention to you, and if you and I would like to, if you'd like to work on this with me, I'd be overjoyed. But what I'm thinking about, in the same way that you're doing the Volunteer Summit, we should perhaps in the fall, maybe we could aim for next National Volunteer Week in April next year. We should have a bigger event where we literally set up all of the different organizations who are in need of volunteers, and there's plenty of them, and almost set it up like like you do with the Spring Living Show or something, and invite people to come. We could have some exercise and stuff going on at the same time, perhaps presentations, whatever, with everybody at booths, and seeing if we can get a bunch of people come in and kind of revitalize those volunteer organizations.
So great idea. We used to do that, and we stopped doing it because the feedback we were getting for renting the Grand Hotel for a morning or a day or whatever the activity was, the feedback we were getting is that volunteers couldn't make it because they were volunteering on a Saturday. So you're right. So volunteering, the issues with burnout and someone like David Solos volunteering for 9 different groups, wearing many different hats. It's been a long time issue. And I guess we wanted to try to get some people together, of different ages. So we have for the summit, we have a youth volunteer that we're going to hear from, maybe an adult, a senior, just to try to get different perspectives on why people volunteer. But no, you're right. I don't have the answers. We rely on volunteers for a lot of things, and a lot of groups have 3 or 4 key volunteers running a huge organization. So maybe it's time to bring something like that back. As far as the Volunteer Week type of process, we used to celebrate our reception during Volunteer Week. Mm-hmm. And COVID hit, and it kind of threw a curve and everything, and we do align with reception in the fall. But I'm not opposed to bringing that reception back, and like we have that reception in the fall after the provincial so that the provincial reps can tell their story about their provincial experience. If we want to take a totally different direction on that, there's all kinds of different things that we can do.
Yep, the other part of that I was going to say, it's in terms of communication, and again, I'm sorry to prolong this, but we had all the presentations in the fall. It was great. Maybe we should almost take Volunteer Week, if we are going to stay aligned in the fall, and almost relive those on social media, on that, to bring attention again to the volunteers that we have. It's cheap, and it's a great way to put that focus back on it. Just a thought.
Right on.
Yeah.
So who does that in Argyle? I think Argyle does it, like they have their volunteers and then they kind of feature them.
Mm-hmm.
So do you want to go and then I'll?
Just along that point, even if we don't do a formal expo, possibly a virtual expo where anybody who's looking for volunteers could submit their name, we'll say to Yarmouth Recreation or the town, probably Recreation because it's both town and county, with what kind of positions might be available. So like a newcomer, often people come into the community and they said, I want to be involved, but I don't really know who could utilize my talent. So maybe something like that, even living online, might attract some people. But I like the idea in person more, but possibly in the time being something virtual.
So I got to go back to Steve because I got to go from top to bottom. So the people's voices are important, as you said, and you said why. The other thing is, I have a lot of people in my office, like, just come in and they're upset about something. But when you explain to them, and what an opportunity, not just for their voices to be heard, which is important, but to hear the facts, because it's why are you closing it down? Well, you wouldn't even be able to afford sneakers if we had to keep it open. We just can't do that. So when you put the facts forward and you listen both, see, now I got goosebumps on the goosebumps. It's really important. So it'd be really cool. So are we okay do you want to bring that back to the rec committee? Because that's next week. Am I allowed to do that here? Would you put that on the agenda? Discussion for the rec committee, discussion around the community meeting, okay?
Yeah.
And then to the volunteer piece, got stuff all over the page here. The volunteer week, so the province does it then, but all the highlight seems to be in the spring. Maybe that's what we do. We doesn't do the spring, and then when we've got the two people that go, right? So can you add that to the committee?
Yep.
That to the meeting? And then the volunteer, what were you saying, Wade? We'll put that in as well.
Yeah, just the idea of figuring out how to do something a little bit larger.
Yeah.
Even if we don't do it every year,
Yeah.
but every couple of years, to create that kind of almost a spring living show, but not about that, about volunteers. Have everybody set up, have a whole bunch of people, everybody that we can come up with to come in and get those volunteers. And you're right, it's very true with any organization I've ever worked in, that 10% of the group does 90% of the work. So it's not so much about making volunteers come in, although whomever is on those booths would. It's about bringing that new blood in. And when it comes to newcomers, when it comes to people within the community now, to me, once you're volunteering for a group, everything changes because you've got that buy-in.
Yeah.
And that's where the passion comes, and that's where vitalizing, making any region vital, that's where it comes from.
Yeah, I agree. So we can add that as well, the volunteer, whatever you want to call it.
Expo or
Expo,
showcase or,
Yeah, so we'll refer that back to the committee, so we got those three that you.
and I can also share some of the formats that we've done in the past when we've done that. Traditionally, we didn't take that because it was a big event type of thing that we were at the Rod.
Yeah.
We had other partners involved, so we
Yep.
partnered with Argyle and some local community groups and stuff like that. So I can kind of show you what we've done in the past sort of thing. And
Some people are going to step up. Most of the time, it's intentional. You have to make sure people know they're invited. Okay, so we're good. Any other questions for Frank? Gee, that was awesome.
thank you.
Okay, we're good. Thanks, Frank. Okay, personnel policy amendment. The recommended motion is to recommend the council amend section 5.04 of the personnel policy. Okay, Deputy, Councillor Lesser, and you're on to speak. Yeah,
Okay, I second, right?
you did.
The only thing I'm not 100% sure of, and I haven't read through it all, is if a complaint was made by a staff member to the Human Resources or the CAO, if that's covered in the policy. Like, you wouldn't obviously want to go to the CAO and put a complaint in if it's about, I'm not saying you're ever going to get a complaint, because I'm pretty sure you're not. But if anybody wanted to, I guess, what's the procedure
Yeah, so,
to go past that?
Person can go to their direct supervisor, they can go to the HR manager, or they could go to the CAO. There's no restrictions in that respect. There are options, because we recognize that a complaint can be about your direct supervisor, could be about the CAO or anyone else. And so the intent in this amendment is just simply to really provide some opportunity that not every complaint results in a formal investigation. That was something that we saw in the policy, having put it into action, is that it seemed like there was no off-ramp for less problematic complaints that could be more easily resolved. So that was the intent here. And at the same time, not allow important complaints to be dealt with in a less formal way. That is also protected in here.
Is that okay? You good? Any other questions on this one? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. 9B, Nova Scotia Health Authority. So the recommended motion there is to recommend the council send a letter to the Nova Scotia Health Authority regarding the ongoing 911 calls being received by the town RCMP detachment. Okay, moved by Councillor Bashir Lacroix, seconded. Okay, discussion on this one? Go ahead.
Just a comment, and maybe there's nothing that can be done, but I'm getting tired of when something is a real problem. This is a real problem. When something is a real problem, we write a nasty letter. Well, that'll teach them. Isn't there any other way that we can get this done as opposed to just sending a letter and maybe it gets ignored, maybe it doesn't, but all you get are, and I don't want to outline any replies or spotlight anyone, but often what you get is a platitude and then nothing changes. And it becomes frustrating. Just a comment.
Okay, go ahead, because you say it or I say it and you're more diplomatic.
Yeah, so sometimes when there's a problem that somebody is creating for you, you can simply make them aware of it, and they'll take your complaint seriously. They will understand the inconvenience or the cost associated with it. They'll investigate it. They'll communicate back, we found the cause, you know what, and maybe it's something that can be easily rectified with a little education or awareness. Maybe it's something that's going to require some investment of dollars, and so there might be a bit of time required. But in this case, I don't think that we have yet the satisfaction that a solution has been identified that is clear to us, or what even the problem is. We don't even know what the problem really is, except it continues to occur. And so I think the intention here, Your Worship, is that we're not going to let it go. We can't let it go. This is a costly and inconvenient and potentially dangerous situation for the rest of the community. And so, this may have to be escalated beyond the level that is currently at.
We did say letter because I have no problem calling, correct me if I'm wrong there, but I remember saying, we'll do the letter, but I will call because I think it's speaking with somebody to say this is still an issue and it's a cost, and then we'll, it'll get somewhere. It'll get somewhere. Councillor Hatfield?
Thank you, Your Worship. So I'm just going to ask if there's any recollection of council receiving a letter indicating that the health authority was changing and updating its telephone system.
I have that. Was May 2025?
And so has that been completed?
They say they're working on it. It's supposed to, the last one we got, Lindsay, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was the May 2025 letter that said it was ongoing, and that it should take a couple months. That'll be a year next week. So that's why we're, and the RCMP are very, this is not fun.
Yeah.
It's costly. It costs us, costs our citizens the protection as well.
So are there other jurisdictions who have faced this issue? And if there are, what has their recourse been? I mean, is it not, are there not fines for dialing 911 when it's not an emergency?
You can talk about the money out here. Yeah, let's not. Yes, let's do it.
Yeah, it's not malicious. However, back a number of years ago, a previous staff sergeant had come to council making his annual report, and one of the things he requested at that time was a false alarm bylaw. So that would result in a fine, whether malicious or not. Back at that time, I think the issue was these home alarm systems,
Right.
with the dialers that were resulting, because of how people were used to behaving in their homes without an alarm, they were triggering alarms, and police were having to respond to non-emergencies. We do have to a certain degree, we have an issue with the fire department, frankly, where they run out to false alarms, sometimes to this very building, because we have had elevator issues that would dial the fire department. But we could, if it was council's wish to tie something somewhat punitive and financial to this issue, we could look at to bring forward a false alarm bylaw that would apply obviously not only to the one property, but to anyone who was causing our police or fire to respond unnecessarily on a repeated basis.
So, you
So
good?
just- Yeah,
you're
just
still
one,
on.
just with regards to the costs that can be documented to the town through its policing, like, I mean, I'm sure the police can quantify the costs
Yes.
of them by hour, right, for the disturbance, and I'm just wondering, are there any mechanisms through which the town could levy charges appropriate for the expenses that are being, I just, at the end of our rope here, this has been going on since I got on council, so, and probably many years before.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so for this and maybe other issues, we have talked to other jurisdictions that have advised the province that they were causing costs, or they were causing resources to be unavailable for their intended purpose, like police officers. And when that occurred unnecessarily, they advised that they would send a bill, and that advice went to the minister. And then when the behavior continued, a bill was sent. And I'm to understand that a Christmas miracle occurred and the behavior, the inconvenience stopped. So that might be a pathway to resolution.
So we did, just so you're aware, we did do this at Police Advisory Board, and we said exactly that, like, money talks, kind of. And that we do need to take it to the next level, because it's a concern. It's like you're almost not being taken seriously, and this is, we have a little shortage of police officers now, so we're going to take the next steps to get there, and quickly. Well, I say quickly, but we had that chat this morning, he said, whoa. Remember we had that chat? I said, can we put that on today? And you said, yeah, but let's wait till we have a policy.
Well, yeah, so just to follow up on that, I do, we do have a police advisory board.
Yeah.
And they are discussing this, and so Her Worship and I spoke earlier today about these issues. It might be appropriate just to refer these issues to them. My hunch is they'll discuss these policy options, whether it's fines or letters and bills, that kind of thing, and bring something forward to council.
So, yeah. So I'm just going to say this very quickly. I'm just thinking, we don't meet for another 3 months. I don't think anybody would be opposed to meeting like in a couple weeks just for that one item, and let's get her rolling, right? You'd be okay with that? Kelly, you'd be good? Yeah, okay. Thank you. Okay, so there's a motion on the floor. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. 9C, the recommended motion is to recommend the council direct staff to temporarily store any deceased animals they collect and purchase a microchip scanner as recommended by staff. I'm going to have a question about this. Okay, moved and seconded. Okay, so here's a question. Does the vet do this? Do what? Like, have a, scan the microchip? I'm looking at you because you're so animal.
Chip scanners
Friendly.
are like $100.
Oh, okay.
They're not an expensive
All right.
tool. Yeah.
Then I guess I should have asked that question first, and that's, all right. So in the meantime, so this can be done right away?
Yeah, I think what Chad was trying to say is, if I understand it correctly, is wild animals is by far the greater issue that they deal with, but it is uncommon that domestic animals occur or they are faced with a deceased domestic animal. No issue with getting a scanner. I think that's a great suggestion to help identify owner and reunite or reconnect people. He talks about a freezer there. We can talk. I'll deal with Chad on that. That's not a major item. This is just to report back to council that the issue's been looked at, and it's not a major issue. Something we can implement. Not something you're going to hear about every day. I do think if there is a good news story, and there isn't a good news story when someone loses a pet, but I believe they were able to connect the person who lost their animal with their deceased animal at the end of the day. So obviously a regrettable situation, but it does happen, and we'll try to do better in the future.
Good. Any more discussion on this one? I can see your wheels turning.
No, it's silly probably. I'm just wondering for those, in a rare case that you would find the town would come upon a deceased pet, for those who do not have a microchip, is there a way that maybe it could be posted with a description, maybe not a picture, obviously, but a description of that pet so that somebody may see it without having to use a microchip?
Yeah, I think that's something that maybe we can queue up between Public Works and Mike, just some kind of a public notice, and like say if we can hold the deceased animal for a period of time in hopes that we can reunite with the family, then certainly we could do that.
Okay, anything else? All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. The next one, 9D, to recommend that council amend the grants policy and that it shall not be effective until September 16, 2026. I have that motion. Councillor Hatfield, Councillor Lesser. Discussion on this one? Okay. Oh, sorry, didn't even see it. Go ahead.
Just wondering if there should be something in there on giving grant money to organizations that give the money back out. Was that one of the ones that we?
This one's, oh, I'm looking at the application. Hang on a second, got the wrong one up, maybe. Yeah, it is. I just got to find it. Yeah, I've only got one page. How'd that happen?
Okay.
If it's going to be in there, it has to be in there.
So where it is policy, you're required to have it 7 days before the council meeting. So if you're comfortable, you don't need to make a motion here. You shouldn't make a motion without seeing the document. We'll put it on the council agenda. You'll have it 7 days ahead, and you can discuss it. And if you wish to approve it at council, you'll still be able to do that.
Thank you.
Good? So we're going to leave this one? Yeah, no, that's all right. Yeah, it's the same. It goes through at the same time. So we're going to leave that one, folks, and just, we'll get that sent out. Okay, tax grants. So we each have the list. And these are, yeah, these are organization. Sorry, I got tax grants written down, but we've got a list of tax grants as well. Right on. Okay, did you hear that one? She's just waiting to confirm the budget from finance. So what we want to do, Lindsay, what do you want to do? You want to have a date by which this comes in? Go ahead, CAO.
So Lindsay and I discussed, and in order to have the tax grants in front of you to be able to approve at the May council meeting, it would be wonderful if you could complete your spreadsheet by the 11th of May, and that'll be on the spreadsheet as a reminder. Resubmit to Lindsay, and she'll place them on the agenda on the 12th. That's the Tuesday before the council meeting, and you'll be able to see the results there and be prepared to make a decision, or hopefully to ratify the decision at the council meeting in May. That will help us in terms of interest accruing on the accounts.
Good? Yep. Go ahead, Councillor.
The budget that's listed there, that's, we can spend that full amount if we want this time because it's only 70%, is that, okay.
That's my question too, just for clarity. Because we're supposed to put the rest of it aside as contingencies, and that does not include that number then. Gotcha. Perfect, thank you. Just want to be sure.
Okay. So I was just going to say, I know these are difficult, and we've made some changes that I think we all agree are really bringing us in line with where we want to go with grants and to make it fair and equitable and everything. So if anybody here feels like they need to discuss something, I mean, you can always send a note out to a council member or, you know, there's no reason we just can't have a quick online meeting if there's extra questions or something like that before the 11th. If you've got questions, if you haven't reached out to somebody, we can do that. Just let me know. Okay, so we're good on that. So we'll do that by the 11th. And organizational grants is 9F, same thing. Oh, okay. So the tax grants because of the tax interest, but the organizational grants, Lindsay, what do you think? I know, but you have to get everything ready. So, well, it's got to be, it should be before committee of the whole, so we can get that on and get that taken care of. May 25th, is that committee of the whole or 2 days before?
That is the Monday.
Oh, okay. So are you okay with that, everyone? Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Yeah. Okay, correspondence, NSFM Library and the Tri-County Hospice. So is there anything there, Belle, that you wanted to speak to? No, we'd already talked about that, okay? And then the Hospice Society, they sent, I put a folder there, and they're having an enchanted gala where they were asking us to sponsor a table, things like that, and I said, you have to apply to the grants process. That's how you do that. So go ahead there.
Yeah, and having said that, I think personally, if we were going to donate to this, it would make more sense to go right to the society itself as opposed to a table for us to go to an event and they give it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if we wanted $1,000 to go to hospice, let's give $1,000 to
Yeah.
hospice.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as I love fancy dinners and raspberries and cheese in my salads and different forks, I think it'd be better if
Yes.
spent where it's supposed to go.
It is better. I'll say this only, and I agree with you. There's an expectation that I'm at these things, that the town is represented. I just haven't gone to, right. I completely agree, yeah. So, yeah, so I haven't, and I didn't say yes to this one either, so we're good there. Okay, all right, additions. So I added committees and agendas, so this is what I was thinking. I was looking online, trying to figure out where everything is and when it is, because I can't go to anything, just pop in and see what's going on if I don't know, and neither do you if you want to pop in. So we need a way to access both the time and the dates, as well as the minutes of all the committees and boards that the town reps sit on, okay? So, and as it is now, and Lindsay can correct me, we have easy access to the ones that we take the minutes for, but we don't have easy access to the rest, or maybe you can press a button. Are you laughing at me? Because Jeff is.
Well, define easy access.
Well, I mean, I can look at my calendar on the town site,
Correct.
and I can see that that's when the meeting is taking place,
Yes,
an agenda and stuff like that, maybe?
correct. So Argyle and the municipality of Yarmouth also use the same agendas and minutes platform. So if you go to their website for the minutes they take, it looks the same. For example, the airport. I will say I do have a call set up on Tuesday now to talk to eScribe about potentially pulling data from their calendars and putting it on ours, but I don't want to set any expectations.
No. So I can leave that one, if we're okay leaving it with Lindsay, because we had that conversation. I just don't think it's, I don't think it's right that we just need to see what does a month look like, and access minutes. So if Derek's hearing something about the Mariner Center, he doesn't have to go searching everywhere, or the library or whatever. So, okay, we'll leave that with you, and you can update us. Oh, sorry there, Deputy.
I think that's good for the public as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Sometimes people want to look into things, and
Yeah.
I know myself later at night, sometimes you go down rabbit holes and start reading and whatnot, but it's good if you want people to be involved and know what's going on.
Yeah.
The ability to see what's there, and then maybe they want to be part of things, as Councillor Cleveland said earlier, that a lot of our committees and organizations really need a re-up, and if we have that there for people to kind of see on their own time, they can say, hey, maybe I'm involved in that. So I think that's 2 or 3-fold if we get that there, not only for us, but for the community as well.
Yeah, and it needs to be easy access, right? Because nobody's going to go to try to do, it's hard. Okay, and the second one I put was, I just think we need a standard template or information packages for committees, especially those with citizens, like we know what we're doing, we've been schooled, on how things work, especially the governance. So to say, because they're citizens, they get to vote, but they also get to make the decisions along with us, like those types of things. Because sometimes on committees, they might be getting directed as opposed to having the input and making decisions. And the fact that anything that they want done, it's the same as council with staff, we have to motion it. So anything that goes from a committee that they want something done, it's got to be motioned to come to council. So I think just the little things are, the governance pieces may be missing, and it's only fair to update. Go ahead there, Derek, and then Jeff, you're gonna.
A question along those lines that I was asked is, I mean, you have an agenda ahead of time, so you would know what the topics are going to be. But I'm trying to think of the best way to word this. Any motion that's coming forward for a group of people to do something, that should be, I'm assuming, up to the group to decide who's going to be doing that, as opposed to, like, I guess the motion shouldn't be, like, for, we'll say, accessibility, that the motion shouldn't be that we agree to send Stephen Nicol to, or like, we want to send Stephen Nicol to this conference, unless, I mean, if he's the chair, it makes sense maybe to do it, but I'm thinking it makes more sense to have a motion of, do we have any nominations, and call for nominations 3 times as a standard practice? Is that,
Yeah.
as opposed to bringing a name forward to begin with, is that, does it matter if we do the call for nominations 3 times? I'm not sure if you're following what I'm asking.
Yeah, I do. You can ask either way, I think.
Yeah, I think it can work either way. Where I thought you were going, and you kind of landed near where I thought you were going, is that when there's an agenda sent out, you know, and there are going to be motions, right? When you put something on the agenda, you know what it is you want the committee to decide.
Right.
That is the motion, right? So that's the question you want them to answer. If that can go out, like we do with council and committee of the whole, we have the suggested motions go out. So you can prepare by reading your agenda, you know the questions you're going to be asked here today.
Right.
And that should hold for all of our advisory committees as well. So for you, to your question, if there's an intention to buy Frank a new hat, right? Or whatever, like that should be there, or to send Frank to the hat store. You know,
Well,
it can be that way, or it can be open nominations. I mean,
A specific example would be police advisory, for example. I think it's standard practice that if somebody is going to go to the provincial police advisory meeting, that it's typically the chair. But I'm wondering if it doesn't have to be, should the motion be, we're going to call for nominations of who's going to represent us at that, or should it be, we're saying that the chair's, like, the motion should be the chair's going to go? Like, I guess whoever's putting the motion forward, do they get to decide who's going, or should the group decide who's going?
the group decides, and it's more democratic, right,
Right.
to leave it open and let nominations come forward from the group, for sure.
Okay, perfect.
So I'm just thinking that maybe a motion to develop a template or information package for committees with citizens on, I don't know, how things work, especially with regard to governance. Would that work? And we can work with Lindsay to do something like that? Okay, and it would go out to every committee, right? Because it's only fair. Oh, go ahead, sorry.
I just wondered if you wanted a motion. I would make a motion to direct staff to develop orientation packages for all of the advisory committees, that especially focusing on the governance practices and policies. And I wonder, should we also be doing this for our agencies, boards, and commissions? I'm thinking of succession planning here.
So am I. So am I.
I know that I felt like I had got dropped in the middle of a lake, but I came in the middle of a term, and I was replacing somebody who had been there for years. So that might not be the norm, but I think it would have been very helpful, for instance, at the Industrial Commission, if there were terms of reference, if there was policy, you know. And so maybe that's for each of the agencies, boards, and commissions to do, but perhaps we could send a recommendation or advise our agencies, boards, and commissions of our interest in seeing that done.
Yes. And I actually did have boards and commissions listed, but they're not, so
No.
the hours.
Yeah.
And then inclusion of mandate, all those pieces that would be helpful in plain English. Good. Anyone else? Okay, yeah. It's good for us, too. You know, so that we know we're going in, if we're going to chair something, or, you know, this is how it works. Okay, so you moved it and you seconded it. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. We'll have her straightened out in 2.5 years. I'm done. The succession planning's killing me. Okay, so we need now a motion to go in camera. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, a motion to go in camera, but don't move yet. Okay? Oh, sorry. Motion to go in camera? Thank you. Seconded. Thank you. All those in favor? Aye. And Wade would be the one laughing at me. Stop it.